Well, my name is Tony Alarcon. I'm a primary therapist here at Evolutions Treatment Center. Um, this is Megan Morrison. Maybe you can.
How are you? Megan Morrison. I am a life coach and music therapist here at Evolutions.
So, today we're going to talk a little bit about music and the arts and how therapeutic it can actually be to not just to the clients, but in general, in life. There's something to be said, at least I have found, that there's something to be said for outlets, ways that we can actually express our emotions along the spectrum, be it anger, frustration, sadness, happiness, elation, inspiration, motivation, all depending on what we're feeling and how we're feeling. I have always found that as a musician, it has always helped to pour it into a song. Not necessarily because you need to express exactly what it is you're feeling, but more so because you have to be able to process while you're feeling what you're feeling. And sometimes you'd be surprised how so much as a cordial change or a change in rhythm can impact your feeling as it's happening through the moment, where you can go from a verse that starts with a somber groove and a minor chord to eventually transition into a major chord or into a major progression, and all of a sudden everything, even the emotion that you're feeling, starts to take on a different local color, a different timbre, a different vibe. And as you're writing the song, in a way, you're almost writing and processing your emotion, and the feeling is changing. And then the beauty of the song is, as you continue to put the finishing touches on it, before you know it, something that may at one point have caused anguish or depression or felt like an emptiness or a loneliness or a brokenness has all of a sudden become fully charged with these positive emotions. And it becomes this body of work that you're able to look at instantly, not just as it's happening and in flux, but even tell the story when you look back at it, at how, well, this song started out, I mean, how many times haven't we heard artists say this? Well, the song started out about this, but by the time I was done, it became about this. And this is the beauty of music, especially for those who are musically inclined or have like an artistic flair. I'm sure for painting it's not too different. You know, it all starts with one stroke, with one color, but by the time it has come to its fruition and it's been actualized, I mean, there's no telling what develops, because we're all always in this moment, in this present moment. And when we delve into our purpose, while the motivating factor to start change may be one thing, it can always end in a different one. It's almost like your first day in treatment. You know, you tend to have a lot of anguish and a lot of desperation, backs against the wall, never hit the ground this hard, I'm at rock bottom. But something happens a week into the song that is recovery. Your face changes, your vision changes, your mind changes, you hear differently, you feel things you haven't felt in a long time. And I feel like music kind of runs you through the whole spectrum. Art, you know, even a song that I may have heard or have written 5 years ago, while the song may remain the same, today I'm not the same person. So when I hear the song, I hear something different. I see something different. Somehow the energy has changed. And I think that's the beauty of music, you know, and the therapeutic element of it is that there's so many elements to a song and to art, just like there are so many elements to ourselves, to our life, to our past, to our present, to where we're going. So when you start to see the parallels between the development of a song, you can see how you, as an individual, are a song as well. What's going on in the verse might be what's going on right now. You might find yourself in the pre-chorus a month from now, and it might sound totally opposite of what you thought it would be. And who knows if 2 months down the road, 6 months down the road, you're in the chorus and all of a sudden this is a happy song and you don't know how you got here. It started with that first somber chord, started with that first minor. And before you know it, you can always look back to this time. You can always look back to this song. You can always look back to this moment as a, if not for that, there'd be no this. How do you see it?
Absolutely. I mean, as far as being a songwriter, I've written basically the story of my life over the years, and you can see very clearly how my music has progressed over the years from before I got sober, the music that I wrote, and the energy that it had and how it sounded, and the lyrics especially. You can see it progress over the years to where it is now, which Tony and I play music together. He sees my songs, and they still rock really hard, but they're more inspirational, more motivational, more, I'm writing more about what I'm going through now, but I'm also writing to tell my story and express emotions and hoping that the listener will get something out of it. Whereas before I was very selfish and just kind of writing the songs about myself and my angst and my personal, emotions, what I was going through. I wasn't writing the music for anyone else, and now it's a very different story. So as far as being a musician and writing music, it's very therapeutic to me. I will sit down with an idea, a melody, a chord, one line, and like Tony said, it can change into something completely different. But I'll look at the song that I've written after and be like, "Whoa! I didn't even realize I was feeling that." Like, okay, like either wow, this is really great, or well, maybe I need to take a look at something. But it's so great having music as a tool as an artist. Not everyone's a musician. What's great is that music and art are it's so much easier to express emotions through music and art. So you could have a group full of people, and they're just recently, they're detoxing. They really don't want to talk about their emotions. They're still processing why they're here. And, you go around the room and say, how are you feeling? You're not going to get much out of them. But if you say, hey, choose a song, and that somehow relates to how you're feeling, or like how you were feeling when you were give me a song title, you play that song, then all of a sudden they have something to say about how they relate to the song and how it's somehow pertains to their life and the emotions that they're feeling now. So music is a great gateway to open the room for discussion and to really help open people up. Same like painting or drawing. I know when I was in early recovery, I'm not the best artist, but painting and drawing was a real big release for me. And, you could tell my emotions through the colors that I was using. Not everyone has to be an artist to be able to express their emotions through art. It is very therapeutic, and it's a different style. It's not just talking and processing. It's, really being active and being able to get your emotions out. And that's why I feel like music and art is so important in recovery, and adds a whole new element.
You know what I think is also really cool, and it really parallels when it comes to songwriting, is, sometimes we'll be one-sided on working on a song. Like if I'm working on a song, or you're working on a song, but you're sitting there working on it by yourself and you're writing it, and you come to a point where perhaps you've taken the song as far as you can take it, but it still feels like maybe there's something missing. There's something that the song is not ready. There's something missing, but we can't see it. And this is again where music and songwriting, they're really related, very tightly related to the recovery process. Because how many times do we not try to get clean on our own, and try to do it by ourselves? And I can do this. All I have to do is stop. But we know that something is missing. But we're so sometimes embarrassed or isolated, and we close in, and we don't want to expose this half-written song, or this song that's 80% of the way there, because we're afraid that it'll be judged as a bad song.
And we don't want to ask for help because we want to do it all ourselves.
Right. And then all of a sudden, perhaps somebody just comes along with their big mouth and says, hey, it's a pretty cool song. What if you did this here? What if this is what's missing? And it's like, why didn't I think of that? Why did I wait so long to even start to work around it, or ask for help for a little something? Why would I let the song sit there deficiently for so long without actually utilizing the tools that were at my disposal the whole time? Okay, and so this is where I find that recovery and music in general, and especially the songwriting part of it, they are very similar, because people will walk into treatment missing a chord, and the worst thing that they can do, the one thing that truly paralyzes any type of possible progress, is to walk out missing the same chord, never having added anything to the song. We come into treatment and we come into the therapeutic environment seeking for answers, when in actuality the answers is not what we should actually be looking for, but rather the question. What is the right question? What is it that is missing? What is it that, what my approach is missing? What did I walk in here lacking? Because while I'm here, I should be asking for it. I should be dictating my own treatment. I should be saying, hey, Megan, look, I got this song. I've been working on it. I've got the verse, I've got the chorus, but the bridge, there's something wrong, because when I get to the bridge, I get stuck. There's something wrong, because when I start thinking about my ex-wife, or when I start thinking about my father, or when I start thinking about the bar, or when I start thinking, all of a sudden I get stuck, and then I use. And this is where the therapeutic alliance and music and therapy, it all runs so parallel in essence. It's so similar, because these are the types of things that we can truly gain by bringing out the magical, mysterious, missing part to the song to our therapist, to the sober coach, to, hey, Megan, this is where my deficiency is. It seems like whenever I get to here, the record skips. It seems like whenever I get to here, the sound shuts off, the song ends, it's no longer working. And so I think this is also like, in essence, as adults, as humans, even as kids, I mean, every month, every year, it's all a different song, and by the time you start roping these moments together, I mean, you're putting out albums, you're dealing with so many things. You know, you're telling this whole story. If and when you feel like something has gone awry, or there's something missing, we shouldn't try to keep writing that song from the deficiency point, but rather we should involve other people. We should involve other writers, you know, people who have that prowess, people who don't have the same blind spot.
Yep.
You know, we should co-write. We should work together. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not meant to go through this process alone. Not as musicians, not as anything. I mean, even as children, when we're born, I mean, we get pulled out by our feet, we get spanked in the butt, we get a bottle in the mouth, we get washed up. We don't do none of these things ourselves. No. Left to ourselves, we would never make it past the first few hours.
And I have to remind myself too of that, because when I was first getting sober, that was the first time in my life that I learned how to ask the questions that I needed to ask, and I learned how to ask for help for the first time really, and realized that what I was thinking wasn't always right, and someone else might have a better answer for me, and so I learned how to listen. Now, it took years later to be able to do that with my music, and I still struggle with that, but I'll be working on a song for months, and in my head I know that something is not quite right, but that's the song and that's the way I wrote it and that's how it's supposed to sound. And then Tony will say, well, what if you put this chord here instead of this? It would make it, it would add a little more suspense, or it would, switch it up a little bit. And my immediate first response is, shut it down. No, that is not how I wrote the song. That's not how it's supposed to be. This is how I wrote it. This is how it's supposed to be. And then I'll be like at home and I'll be thinking about it, and I'll kind of play it and be like, oh shit, he's right. Like, you know what? That might actually work better there than the thought I had. And to be able to not only do that with my music, but also do that in life as well. It's a life skill that you have to learn how to do that if you're gonna get this recovery thing. If you're gonna, live a sober life, if you're gonna live a happy sober life, you have to learn how to do that, how to let go, how to take suggestions, how to, find that missing chord that you might not have that someone else might be able to give you.
Even how to change the station every now and then if you know that's just not a good song.
So yeah.
Well, anyway, these are the parallels, I think, between music and therapy and addiction and the recovery thereof. And definitely, I think music therapy it's just an amazing part, an amazing component to the whole process. Because more often than not, I think everybody's got a little bit of stage fright. And that's why the big artists get the big bucks, right? Because they can actually speak for us in some ways. So anyway,
we're teaching people to speak for themselves by using music, basically.
That's right. Well, who knows? Maybe the next time we talk about music, maybe we'll actually play a song to kind of,
I think we should
put on exhibit, actually show you what we mean and how it all comes together.
definitely.